What is going on, everybody? Happy Thursday. It's been a day. I'm in New York right now at the Dream Hotel, just kind of hanging out here. It's good to be back. Love being back in New York. I was lived here for 6 years. For those of you who do not know, both my kids were born in Brooklyn. That makes them like extra hard, right? If you say that your kids are born in Brooklyn, you're like, oh man, those kids can probably like fight or something. So good to be back in New York on site with one of our clients, Betterment. Shout out to Betterment. If you need 401k solutions, you're a small business or something, go check out Betterment. Love those guys. And then this is my third live webinar today. So, I guess this is part of what you do when you're out and about trying to, talk about books and things like that. And today's topic here, this is my fourth live this week, which is probably also record. I'm sure LinkedIn at some point is going to like shut me down or something and just be like, Jake, look, you know, we like that you're using the platform and everything, but come on, man. But it's good, man. We're getting a lot of people showing up. Probably, I don't know, 1,000 people or something show up to all these. So Trina, her copy arrived today. Amazing. Thank you so much. If you have not bought a copy of the book, what are you waiting for? Please do. I dropped it. We got up to number 23 in all of sales books yesterday. We hit, which means we passed Jordan Belfort and we passed Seth Godin. It's like, that's big, right? So, and now we're back down to, I can't remember what it is, but we'll keep working on it. Yeah, let me try to post a link here for the book real quick, everyone. So if you've not bought a copy of the book, this is your first time hearing about me, Skaled, then welcome. My book, Innovative Seller, Wiley is the publisher, just went live. Becca, I'm having that same weird thing. If you're in here, you can post for me. Scott Thomas, what's up, man? Scott's a fellow professional services business owner like myself here in Austin, or not here in Austin because I'm in New York. But all right, I'm trying to post a link for the book. Of course, why would it work? But really excited for today's conversation. I'm going to talk to you about one of the core concepts of the book, which is, oh, okay, well, it posted somehow. Eric's book arrived today. Thank you. Brittany's first live LinkedIn attendance. Brittany, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. And hopefully you're going to learn something today. It's not just about books. So today, the topic is actually the book started with just this concept. The original thought with the book is that it was only focused on the sales process itself. And then from that, I realized I'm like, well, shit, like you can't, like there's this thing matters about our outbound process and this matters about optimization. So like, okay, I got to add more stuff to this and can't just do, what do you call it? I can't just talk about the sales process is basically like the epiphany that I had as part of this. So long story short, it started off with this concept that the book kicks off, and hopefully some of you, your copy arrived today. So maybe you've already read a little bit of it. But one of the core kind of first stories I start with is from the CEO of Blockbuster.com at the time. She talks about their opportunity to buy Netflix when it was like a fledgling company. They laughed, and then Netflix destroyed them and put them out of business. So B2B sales, one of the main concepts of the books, and I would say this, if you don't believe in this concept, don't buy the book. And if you bought the book and you believe in this concept, then shoot me an email and I will happily refund you because you didn't know what you're getting yourself into. You just might like my content and you bought a book because, I appreciate you. So one of the core tenets of the book is that, look, B2C sales offers us multiple ways to buy things. B2C sales is optimized for speed and buying the way that we want to. If I want to go to Hollister and buy a new pair of jeans, I don't wear Hollister jeans, I'm sure they're lovely. I can go to Hollister. If I want to buy online, I can get them shipped to my house, right? If I want to go to a boutique, I can buy them at a boutique. So the whole point of this is that B2C sales has already figured out that we need to have multiple modes for clients to buy, okay? B2B sales, my friends. And I've talked about this a little bit in some of the other conversations that we've had this week, but B2B sales is not that. B2B sales is really not focused on meeting people where they're at versus putting everyone in the same conveyor belt. And I want you to think about this. I'm going to give you a very kind of consistent process here Becca, I'm going to try to copy and paste in the 3 pillars of the chapter. Let me try to do it. Please let it go in. Let's see if that worked. Okay, it's working. Great, wonderful. Oh, there we go. Is that the customer journey is optimized for an ideal sales experience at each step. Okay, I don't know where in B2B sales it did not. I'm telling you, like it didn't. When I first started, this was not a thing. Where we started to think that it's about our methodology and how we want people to how we want our sellers to sell versus it's our customer experience and we want to make it as easy as possible for them to buy as much and as fast as possible. But the whole concept is you have to rethink this and you have to think from your customer's vantage point exactly what their ideal that's with a S, not a Z. The other thing, we have processes in place when people come in to fast track people. It's interesting. Everyone wants to decrease sales cycles. Then why do we make everybody start at the same exact part in the journey? If everybody wants faster sales, we should probably do that. The other is that, and again, one of the other key pieces to Innovative Seller that I really wanted to make sure that I made a part of the book is the customer journey does not stop at the contract. It stops at renewal and power usage. And so what that means is things are changing. We always need to be making sure we're aligning to the customer's priorities and how those things are shifting. That to have a really great modern B2B process, you have to make sure it's optimized for the ideal experience at each step. We've got mechanisms to move people to different stops in the sales process based on where they're at in their journey. And we consistently align to the client's priorities. That's it. Those are kind of the core pillars of it. So then the next question is like, okay, Jake, yeah, thanks, appreciate it. Can we kind of like jump into some of this stuff? So the first thing I'm going to talk about is VEX. And VEX is a concept in the book. It's interesting. I was never I never planned to write like analogies into the books. And some of you have maybe heard this concept now, which is actually kind of cool because it means you've tuned into some of these. And VEX stands for vetted, educated, cold, and self-service. And self-service was a late edition ad that was like an absolute bust. What this means is that people are going to come to you as a business, whether they got reached out to cold, whether they came inbound, they are at wildly different steps. I want you to imagine this. Somebody comes inbound. They were at a conference and they heard about your product and they heard it was kind of interesting. And they came inbound and they're like, well, I don't really know a lot here. So yeah, let's have a conversation. So, we would put them in the cold bucket, right? They need to start at the beginning. There's some education that needs to happen. Is this the right fit for them, right? We need to start qualification cold stuff. Same person on paper, you don't have a record of them in your CRM or, you don't have a bunch of marketing. Maybe they downloaded something a long time ago. They're at a conference and they talk to 2 people about your product. They then do their research. They go to G2. They set up a demo with a competitor. And then they come inbound to you. And we start that person at the same spot. That person, my friend, should be started at step 3. That person should be started with like, okay, great. Hey, now that I understand this is where you're at in your journey, let's get these people on the call. How do you do that? You send them an email before the call. That's it. So if you want to know if people are vetted or educated, send them an email before the call. And that's every company needs to start doing this. Before the first call happens, at least 24 hours, if not more, you send an email to the client and you say, hey, I talked to lots of people in your situation. Some are just exploring this space or whatever for the first time. Others, might already have something in the space, have already looked at pricing, and are much further down. I want to be able to meet you where you are in your journey. Which of these describes you best? That's it. Your customers are going to go, oh my God, thank God, this guy actually cares about like creating a good experience, for my organization. So I want you all to think about that. Do I have a process that has just a little bit of dynamicness to it that like can account for people that already have a really high intent? And speaking of intent, okay, let's talk about intent. Intent. I did a video. Some people did not like it. Intent is the new medic, and I'm going to break it down for why it is much, 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 much better than medic as a modern framework. Again, I've said this before. So intent is a way. So now we've got this concept that we need to have different paths for different people. Okay, again, hopefully you can raise your hand, thumbs up, clap. Do you agree that we should probably treat people who are already vetted, no pricing, etc.? Should we treat them differently than the people that know nothing? Right? So that's my question for you. Should we treat them differently? Give me a thumbs up if you think yes. You can give a, I don't know what the emoji for no would be, a thumbs down maybe. So there we go. That is that. I will wait and see what people say or don't say about that. Next up here is intent. So when we think about intent, intent was a very late addition to the book. I literally had written the entire book before I thought of this, because I was like, okay, so people are going to come to Scaled and me, and they're going to be like, hey, Jake, we need to, change our go-to-market strategy, or, one part of the book. And then my mind was like, okay, cool. Yeah, we'll do that for them. We're going to be walking them through this idea of different people at different steps. And then I was like, oh my God. And then they're going to be using Medic. And so they're going to go, well, who's the champion and the buyer? And I'm like, oh, it doesn't work that way. Like, that's not how people buy today. So what does intent stand for? So I'm just going to break it down real quick here. And then I'll go through each one. Next steps. Oh, okay. Well, I'll just go through them one by one. Next steps. The first N. Next steps is this. In today's environment, in 2024, the most common reason for losing deals is you lose to the status quo. They keep doing what they were doing, and momentum dies. If you want to know, and again, this is about the customer, right? I love this. I was just on with, if you guys know Ian, one of the first sales leaders at Cognac, another sales influencer. I was just on his show literally right before this. And what he called out about intent, he's like, Jake, this is really the first kind of framework I've seen that is 100% about the customer. And it's like, what are the next steps for the customer? And now you should help to dictate those because you know how people can buy. But if you don't have next steps, you're dead in the water. It is very easy for no decision to creep in and be the what happens next. This to me, the first T here, team or teams plural. This was really I think like one of there's a couple of these that are pretty big light bulbs, I think, for most people. Teams is certainly one of them. There is no such thing as a champion or one singular decision maker or one singular economic buyer in 2024. It doesn't exist. Everybody makes decisions as a part of a team. There's an end user team that needs to see the utility. There's nowhere in Medic to account for that. There's a champion that might sit somewhere in here, but that they're the champ, like they're a part of the team. All of these people need to understand that this is going to help us in our day-to-day. Okay. Then you've got the impact and ROI team. That's, you got economic buyers and decision makers that might sit in here. But my friends, there's a whole bunch of other people. Wait, that is amazing. I don't know if anybody else just saw that. Apparently Restream has these things. Hold on, let me see. Do they have like any of that stuff? Look at Restream. Let's go. Oh man, I can make like my own professional effects now. I love this. Uh-oh, I might abuse this now. I did not know that if you made a heart on Zoom that it would give a heart as well too. So anyway, teams concept. You've got end user teams, they need to be bought in. You've got sales teams, impact and ROI teams, they need to be bought in as well too. So we have teams that buy today. Okay, that's the other thing. There we go, teams, next step teams. And then we've got E is for education. I talked about this. I teed this up a little bit. You need to know where your education level is in terms of each person or team in the process. You could have, yes, buying committee, exactly. And I want you all to think about this, that in education, you could have went through the sales process in your linear process and it said, oh yeah, they're really involved, but you've only talked to the user team. And so education says, yeah, these guys are further along, but guess what? The impact and ROI team knows nothing about what you do. So we actually need to kind of restart part of our process and start the education process with them, right? So education, where are they in their education level in the process? This is the one Ian called out. He said, Jake, this is like the most no-brainer kind of piece of this, which is the second in, which is priority. Did I spell that right? Okay. Numerical priority. Needs and pains are great. Numerical priority is not debatable. Needs or pains, I could have 8 reps or 8 sales leaders listen to a sales call. One sales leader would say, oh yeah, Jake, there's definitely a pain there. There's definitely a need. The next sales leader would be like, oh, maybe they got to dig deeper. Needs and pains are not easy to quantify across a team. Numerical priority is black and white. Where does this fit for your end user team from a numerical priority standpoint? Where does this fit decision making, we'll call it the decision making / ROI impact team? Where does this fit for you priority wise? This team could say 3 and you're like, done, deal, right? Yes, they need to solve this. It's such a pain in their day to day. But guess what? If the impact and ROI team says, look, we want to solve this, but it's probably like priority 8 or 9 for us, the deal's in trouble, right? It's not a numerical priority for the people that need to see business impact. They don't see the impact. So we either need to help them to understand the potential impact like better and why this should move up, or maybe this deal is like not where it needs to be. And we need to go have a conversation with that end user team of like, hey, they're not where they need to be as a part of it. All right. And finally, last but not least, is time to impact. This one is like, definitely what I do like about Medic is the concept of like compelling event, right? Which is like, hey, what's happening in the business? But again, keep in mind, there's what's happening in the business for the end users and what's happening in the business for the people that care about impact and ROI, which are 2 different people. Your customer cares about time to impact, not sign contract. So if you don't know when your customer needs to see impact by, everyone always is focused on this close date. Your customer does not care about the close date in your CRM. They give 2 shits. They care about when is this, I've got this challenge and when is this thing going to get solved? And so that was the goal of intent. The goal of intent was to provide a new, very customer facing, you could share this with your customer. You can't share Medic or BANT. Okay, I'm supposed to ask you budget, authority, need, and timing. I'm supposed to ask you again, are you the economic buyer? Are you my champion? I wonder if it has, I'm sure a seller has said that. So are you my champion in this deal? Yes, I'm your champion, Jake. Come on, like that's just not like it's just not very customer facing, whereas intent was really designed to be very customer facing. So that is what goes into creating customized sales journeys. Is we've got this new framework where we still have our sales stages and steps that people are going to go through, but we try to understand who the teams are for each group. We try to understand where they're at education level, and then hopefully, kind of toward the end, everyone's on the same lockstep and we're moving forward. And that's really the goal of creating these customized, the whole point of customized sales experience isn't that you need 800 different plays. It's that when people come to you, where are they at in their continuum, and how do we show up and meet them where they're at? Versus everybody starts here. In every just think about that. No matter what you are, everybody starts here in a B2B sales process, but they all come in over here. But we almost like pull them back. And again, everybody wants to, increase the velocity of a deal, but we artificially pull everyone to start at the beginning, and that's just it's not sustainable. Nobody wants to buy that way. People are tired of it. So, all right, my friends, this is my 3rd live of the day after a 3-hour training with a client as well too. So it's been a busy day. Have a great rest of your week. Please go out if you haven't already. Buy a copy of the book, share it with a friend, buy a copy for your friend. Really excited. I've been kind of like watching it, like where it's going. In terms of some of the lists, we've been number 1 in the business sales specific category. We've been number 1 for almost a week now in just pre-sales, which is pretty awesome. And we've been creeping up and down in like the overall sales, Wolf of Wall Street type stuff. Who knows? We'll see where we end up there as well too. So thanks again, everyone. I really appreciate your support this week. I'm going to be off tomorrow. I'm flying back to Austin. And I will see you all on Monday, where we'll I think what's the plan? What's the plan for Monday? I think we're going to recap basically the week and everything that happened. So I'm really excited about it. Thank you again, everyone. Have a great rest of your week and weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.